Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2017 Tiffin Allegro Motorhome, we're going to be checking out the Roadmaster Nighthawk Tow Bar. So before we get too carried away and really dive in and start checking out the tow bar itself, I figured it'd be useful just to kind of refresh yourselves on the main components that we're going to need to flat tow our vehicle down the road in the first place. There's going to be a total of 5 that we're going to need. The first one's going to be our base plate, and what that's going to do is provide us with a solid and reliable connection point. That way we can hook our tow bar up to it. That tow bar is going to be the second component, and this is going to be the physical link that actually connects the front of your Subaru to the back of your motorhome. The third main component will be safety cables, and these are pretty straightforward. These are just there in the event of an unlikely disconnect. They're going to keep everything paired together. The fourth main component is going to be your tow bar wiring, and what that's going to do is transfer the lighting functions from the back of your coach to the back of your Subaru, keeping you safe and legal. And last but not least, the fifth main component is going to be a supplemental braking system, and what this is going to do is hit the brakes in your Crosstrek whenever you hit the brakes in your RV, helping to bring you to a complete and more predictable stop. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and kind of jump right in. So when it comes to choosing a tow bar, you know, it's an important decision. This thing is going to be responsible for a lot of the work, you know, being that physical link that pairs the two. So you're going to want something that you can rely on, and that's going to work good and be easy to hook up. And with that said, the Nighthawk is one that I always recommend. This thing is really, really nice. And a lot of people seem to have really good luck with it. Probably one of the biggest things that people say they're looking for out of a tow bar, and even a whole flat tow setup in general, is they want to have a smooth driving experience, right? They want the vehicle to kind of follow the motorhome and track and stay true and be responsive when you go around corners and things like that. And this is one of the longer tow bars available. And generally speaking, the more distance you have in between your motorhome and the front of your vehicle, the better. You know, it's just going to be able to do a better job of kind of following the motorhome and staying on course. So, you know, when that happens, kind of put your mind at ease a little bit, and it's just easier to drive. You know, it's a big setup here, and every little bit goes a long way. So that's excellent. With that said too, you know, you're going to want something that's really easy to hook up and use, and something that you can live with and not be difficult. And there's a couple things that really make this one straightforward. One of them being how you're going to hook it up. So it's a quick connect type setup here, and all you're going to have to do is pull out this pin, and that's it. So this is going to work with Roadmaster base plates. And there's actually one of these available that has blue ox ends. So if you have a blue ox base plate, you can grab that one and it'll pair right up. And so, I mean, about as straightforward as it gets. Another thing that really helps with making it manageable is the weight of it. So the majority of this tow bar is made from aluminum. And as we all know, aluminum's pretty lightweight, holds up, doesn't rust, and so on. And I would say, honestly, I mean, if I had to guess just by feel, this is probably half the weight compared to a lot of other tow bars. And so it's really easy on your back. You know, you don't have to hold this huge cumbersome tow bar bent over, trying to line it up and everything else. It just makes it that much easier. So definitely a benefit there, and something that just makes it a little bit easier to live with. There's also something else that makes this tow bar easy to work with, and that is the fact that it is a non-binding type tow bar. So for those of you that have experienced a binding type tow bar, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that haven't, it's not an experience you want to have to deal with. So my advice would be, regardless if you choose this tow bar or another one, definitely want the non-binding feature. So what that means is, a lot of times whenever you're towing behind your motorhome and you get to where you're going, you're ready to unhook. What can happen is these arms get locked in and you just kind of get kind of in a bind, you know what I mean? And think about it, a bind, it's not something you want to be in, right? It's not good. And so what happens, you try to disconnect it, and the arms are just rock solid here. You can't get them undone. And so what happens is with those binding type tow bars, there's a button that you have to push, but you need a special tool to do it. And a lot of people end up getting a hammer and just whacking them and beating the heck out of them. It's a big pain. With the non-binding type, like this one here, as well as many other tow bars, instead of dealing with all that, you're just gonna have these levers here. And so if it gets in a bind, you pull up on the lever, it'll release all that tension and make it super easy to pull out your pen and clip and get everything disconnected. So something that a lot of people are concerned with too, or at least think about, is weight capacity. What's this thing gonna be able to handle? And this has an 8,000 pound weight capacity. So generally speaking, from small cars all the way up to pretty big trucks probably, you're gonna have your bases covered. And even if you fall somewhere in the middle of that, just kind of your average size car, never a bad thing to have some overkill. Personally, I would rather have something overbuilt than kind of pushing it right at the edge. So this will really help open up your opportunity, even if you end up flat towing a different vehicle in the future. Regardless which one you get, this is probably going to be able to handle it. Something that I like too is the fact that it comes with not only your safety cables, but also your electrical cable and your 6-way round plug. And so that's a few less things you're not going to have to worry about picking up separately. You can have the confidence knowing the cable's right, the safety cables are the right length and weight rating and so on. Which kind of brings me to my next point. If you're going to be getting a diode wiring kit and you plan on using this tow bar, you want to get the diode wiring kit that kind of just comes with the bare bones, the wiring and the diodes. Since this already comes with the other components, that's the one you're going to want. So just figured I'd throw that out there. And then we're also going to have a pretty cool touch. I believe, this is the only one that I've seen that has this feature, but there's some LEDs that run along the side of it. So when you have your tail lights on, or your running lights or headlights, whatever you want to call them, this is going to come on. And while not a huge deal, it's a safety feature. It kind of gives people an idea on, hey, there's something here in between. You don't just have a car tailgating a motorhome. And a little bit goes a long way, especially in today's age. You got a lot of distracted drivers out on the road, so something like this does make a small difference. Compared to some of the other tow bars available, in my opinion, this one is about as good as it gets. But that's not to say that other ones are bad by any means. If you're looking for something that's a little more economical, kind of a more entry level, but has a lot of the essential features, what I like to call them, like the non-binding arms and a nice long tow bar. One that's really popular is the Roadmaster Falcon all-terrain. A lot of people have had good luck with them. It's relatively light and manageable and has all that good stuff that I would definitely suggest using. But with that said, at the end of the day, it's really just going to boil down to what you're looking for and what you're trying to get out of your setup. One of the things that this tow bar can do is be stored on the back of your motorhome, either permanently or temporarily. And it's convenient to have a little bit of extra storage space. Usually you don't have a ton of extra room when you're over the road, so every little bit helps. All you're going to do is when you disconnect this, fold it up, it'll kind of click in, and then you can lean it to either side and keep it back here. Now, if you do keep it back here, especially if you're going to have it on the back of your motorhome a lot, a couple things I'd suggest, one of them being a locking hitch pin. That way you can keep it secure, and also a cover or a bag. That way it kind of just gives you one extra layer of protection and helps keep the weather off it. And that'll finish up our look of the Roadmaster Nighthawk Tow Bar on our 2017 Tiffin Allegro Motorhome.